welcome to the special recap edition of the Influential Personal Brand Podcast. Something exciting has happened. AJ and I have agreed on exactly 2/3 of what we're going to tell you.
Which in theory should make this shorter, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, it will. And we always have different viewpoints that we draw out. But today,
on all things,
separately, we came up with, always on separate. But today we came up with, we each had 2 of the same top 3. So
I'll start.
Yeah, kick it off, babe.
My first one, and if you, again, as a reminder always, if you haven't listened to the full interview, I highly recommend it. It's really good, and it's applicable to anyone. If you're building a personal brand, if you're not building a personal brand, it applies to all humans all the time, all places. So with that, my first one was this concept of a love bomb. And one, I just love the concept of,
boom,
let's just drop some love.
Love bombs.
And I just love that in general. In fact, Rory and I have been recently talking about all the challenges that are happening in the world today with, racism and sexism and there's just so many things. And if you really think about it, there's just one really simple solution, and it's love. But it's really hard. That's not an easy one, but it is simple. And this whole concept of a love bomb is just dropping massive, just unexpected love and attention and intention on the people around you. And I thought this was really important, this kind of whole concept he said, why don't you try to do the extraordinary for a few versus the ordinary for many?
Mm-hmm.
And I just loved that. And I think about so often things that we do, and it's like we're trying to include everyone, and that just gets really expensive. So you kind of like, the more you include, it's like, okay, well, we can't do that. And okay, well, we can't do that. And okay, well, we can't do that either. But what if you said, well, what are the most intimate people, the most intimate clients, the most intimate family members or friends or whomever, and do something really extraordinary for them? And he tells, as well as Rory, this really amazing thing that he did at our house.
Yeah.
But I'm going to hold that to make you go listen to the full interview because it's worthy of a listen to be like, why would you do that? And the answer is because he just wants to share the love.
Because he's dropping love bombs.
It's a love bomb.
Yeah. And I actually, there's not much more I would say to that. If you didn't pick this up, and if you haven't listened to the interview yet, John Ruhlin is an expert on like client loyalty and retention through gifting. And so he talks about strategic generosity and gifting. And, so I'm going to springboard off that and say my second big takeaway was a term that he used, return on relationships.
Yeah.
Return on relationships, and not just a return on investment, not return on time, but just return on the idea of pouring into people and loving on them. And part of the mindset shift for me was going, just like what you were saying, take what you would spend on like a lot of people and just spend it on fewer to create this more extraordinary impact, this deeper connection. And so that was big, but the other part of it that I thought was going, how come we're willing to buy Facebook ads or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll spend thousands of dollars advertising to a bunch of random strangers who have no desire to hear from us, right? Like we're interrupting the life of a normal human minding their own business.
It's today's version of telemarketing.
And like, what if you just took a portion of that and spent it on appreciating the clients you have, appreciating the referral partners you have, and knowing like that is marketing. Like it's gonna come back to you in referrals, and it's a twofer because you're loving and appreciating the people you have, and they're likely to give you more clients. Plus they are if they are clients, they can more powerfully refer you than a cold traffic thing. But we don't think about, like a lot of us don't think about that. So return on relationships, that was my second.
Yeah. And I would just add one tiny thing to that. And I thought this was really powerful. And it's not something that he says that he necessarily tracks in numbers, even though there is strategy. A little bit of it is by faith, by doing good deeds. And by sharing the love, like the love naturally will come back to you. There's this intrinsic thing in human beings that want to return goodness.
Oh,
right?
Like law of reciprocity.
This law of reciprocity. that was a tangent. That wasn't what I was going to say.
Oh.
What I was going to say is this whole concept of return in relationships is wow with the unexpected.
Mm.
And that is so true. And he talks about all these concepts of like, it's one thing to do things when it's expected, anniversaries, Christmas, birthdays, Valentine's Day, right? But what are you doing that's really unexpected? And how do you create this wow factor with the unexpected? And what he did at our house was that. And it's funny because it's, almost been 2 years and we still talk about that evening.
Oh yeah, we met a
And
ton of
we made
people.
friends there, and it's just like one of those experiences. And that was something else. You're talking about what are you doing in experiences, not just in things. And wow with the unexpected. So that's all I would add. And my third one, and I'm actually going to read
Okay,
this.
so hold on, because your second one tied into my third one, which was planned randomness, which is what you just that was what it was for me, is the unexpected.
Okay.
Like the timing matters more than the gift itself. So
okay, well, I'm going to read
one.
my last one because I actually wrote this out and I want to get it right. And he said, because I was capturing this as he was saying it, it was a handful of people that helped launch millions of revenue. You don't need millions of followers to make millions of dollars. And that is so integral into everything that we believe at Brand Builders Group. And if you are building a personal brand, you are plagued with the comparison concept of, well, in order for this to work, I've got to have hundreds of thousands of followers and I've got to have millions of downloads in my podcast and I have to have this many of this. And it's like, that's not true. And I think the great example that immediately came to mind is Jesse Itzler. And if you guys don't know Jesse Itzler, he's a mega entrepreneur. He owns the Atlanta Hawks. But here's what I want to talk about.
He sold marquee jets.
That's what I've got to talk about.
Oh.
So, but I think this was amazing because he started this it's the largest private jet company in the world, billions of dollars. And there was 2 ways of going about this, right? You're going to rather sell in volume and have a low price, or you're going to have a teeny tiny niche audience and have a very magnificent price. And he built a $1 billion company by selling to only a few people.
A couple hundred people.
I think it was 1,000, right? And that is proof that you do not need millions of followers to make millions of dollars. It's how targeted are you with your core target audience? Do you know them? Do you have something that they want? And how do you reach them? How do you market to them? How do you appeal to them? Because you don't need millions to make millions. And that was just like this, gosh, that's such an important thing for us all to remember as we're building courses or making funnels or speaking and all the things that you can do to build your personal brand. It's like, you don't have to reach millions. You can. And I'm sure you want to, but just remember, you can make a very great business and a really good living, 6, 7, 8, 9 figures by selling to the niches, right? What's that saying? You make riches in the niches. And I just thought that was like this aha moment of, wow, that's just a really great concept to remember and to hang on to.
Yeah. I've never had this thought until you were just talking, but it's so ironic because he married Sarah Blakely. And they did like opposite business models. She sold a low price point to tons of people.
Yeah, it was a volume.
And he sold a high price point to a few people.
Both work.
They can both work.
Yeah.
But particularly if you have a high dollar offer, it's like you don't need that many people to buy it. And beyond the money, it's like you only need a few people who believe in you.
Yeah.
You need a few people.
Yeah, that's right. Back to what he said. He said it was a handful of people that helped launch millions of revenue. And that's because I loved on them and I had attention and intention with every single one of them. It doesn't take a ton to make a ton. Loved it. Go listen to it.
Go love on your people. Find a few people to invest in who've made a difference to you. Make a difference to them and watch how it pours back into your life. We're so thankful for having the opportunity to impact you. So stay tuned and join us every single week. We'll catch you next time on The Influential Personal Brand.